Kitty,
really
kitty
my
down. Oh, you don't want thought of that?
To Shinji. Oh. Hello and welcome. Thank you for once again joining us in our webcast, simply known as ComiCast with cats. We're joined today, as always, with our sound guy, the tech guy, Nathaniel, Shinji on the table, sniffing the tech guy's drink, and myself, William. This week is a heavy Fear Itself week, as we are in the 4th month of the event, and we are, I'd say, over the halfway point. We're getting to where things are, starting to close in on themselves. With that being said, let us begin. As always, Nathaniel, pick one randomly from the bag.
Alright, and we start with Fear Itself, Book 4.
The penultimate book in the series. Also, the tie for my favorite book this week.
Yeah, wasn't bad. So, I guess you go ahead and... What'd you like about it?
Well, what I liked about this book in particular was... it was all exposition. And normally that's a bad thing, but somehow this one moved along at a pace where the storytelling you didn't feel, there was no action, so it wasn't interesting. No, you were interested purely by the storytelling. In the same way that, you can read, there's plenty of spaces in a novel where you're reading it and not a whole lot's going on, but you're still just as drawn in because they're moving the story along.
I mean, with this, I thought there was some really cool parts. A lot of it seemed kind of like forced. I don't know. It seemed kind of slow in some parts. The big thing to me was the why, in the name of all things, you choose middle of nowhere British Columbia to raise the giant, I guess, Fortress of Fear, whatever the hell you want to call it.
See, I was waiting for you to say that because I want to point out you're an idiot.
Suck it.
You can't read for Jack.
Let's see. What does that say?
All right,
Columbia, Canada.
Okay, and at the end of the book, Thor confronted him, right? All right.
Yeah, well, they're fucking fail at writing where the shit they are. Well, why don't, when we look directly at it, it goes right to it. Let me so, they fail. That's pretty much the end result.
Well, but look, it's all icy.
Yeah, and it's fucking Canada.
Well, keep in mind it's Canada, but I think the idea is that this was the straw. The all of a sudden the seas becoming ripe with dead is the straw that broke the camel's back, because
they really need to make that more fucking clear, because
True.
It's kind of annoying to the reader to mid-page change locations without actually bothering to let us know what the hell is going on.
Well, let me introduce you to one thing. The one thing with this book, it's the one thing kind of like, I guess if you were like a Thor fan, he is coming back to Earth. And it's like the last we saw him, he was being tossed in the vortex by his dad, and he tossed a hammer saying, "Don't say I never gave you nothing." Now we actually finally see Thor on Earth. It's like, all right, cool, Thor's on Earth.
He's back where he belongs. And homeboys.
And then also another thing is, for all your Captain America fans, we finally see Steve Rogers getting back in his old uniform.
Steve Rogers in the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, pretty much. Bucky's out of action. I think people think he's possibly dead.
Well, he's missing an arm and has a large hole in his torso.
He was already missing an arm.
Yeah, big old dent in his chest.
Well, the large hole in his torso is still rather a bad thing.
Oh, I know, but the Winter Soldiers had a bionic left arm forever because that was the arm that was caught on the rocket. And subsequently went with it when the damn thing exploded.
Yeah.
But I think this book pretty much kind of like sums it up that, the serpent is, I guess that's remember the name of the character, right?
That is all he's been referred to so far. But
they call him the Father of Fear as well.
Yeah.
They introduced that in Thunderbolts, but
they also reduced one thing that is. It's like, oh damn, no wonder Odin's worried.
Yeah, because there's some revelations about it. I don't actually want to spoil the book to you, but it's very important. Good revelation. It kind of ties everything together.
Well, it explains why the All-Father
is
would be
shitting
concerned.
himself.
Well, yeah, while he's saying, and the whole thing is we've been wondering, it's like, okay, Asgard's preparing to go to war, but to me that didn't make any sense until today. They came out and said the serpent gets his power from human fear. Odin's going to destroy Earth and then go to war with the serpent. First he's going to cut off his supply lines, and then he's going to fight him.
Yeah.
But I mean, and here's the other thing, Nathaniel. I wanted to to beat you down with that. You didn't know what was going on. Factoid.
But I mean, it's you can tell if you're not.
If you've been following the whole thing, though, that's where the first hammer fell in Antarctica.
Yeah, that's true. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be where that's going to happen. And by everything we could see in the directly prior to it, because it goes immediately from mentioning the BC to the whole thing with the ice, and it's Canada, so that doesn't, oh look, there's ice now. Okay, look, you're a little farther north. What do you do with effing Canada? So
Antarctica's south.
No, like I said, if you're in Canada and you go north, you're going to see ice. So that was my rationale. I didn't even realize. I mean, and when they even mention when it's Antarctica, it's this little skid mark text that's, whatever.
On the opposite end. Wow.
It's just not real clear. I don't really give a shit one way or the other.
Well, there's also a great thing where Tony Stark kind of confronts Odin in a way. He goes to the former site of Asgard, Oklahoma, the only thing that ever made Oklahoma worth mentioning.
True.
And he sacrifices what he values most for an audience with Odin. And I'm not gonna give away what that is, but I felt like it was pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
heavy.
It's like wow moment. It's like
yeah.
When I give it away, you're like, damn, this is getting serious.
Yeah, it made some sense in a couple of different ways, but yeah.
Of course, we think Thor is going to fight the serpent because there's a prophecy about him fighting him. Instead, he blasts him, and you think, oh, it's on. It was a teleporting beam.
Yeah. Instead, you see him.
He crashes into Manhattan.
Yeah, you've got what? Grimm and who's
Hulk.
Hulk. That's Hulk. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure who that one was.
I still love the first thing Thor says when he gets back up after crashing into the ground, falling through another vortex. That has gotten old.
Because first his father did it, now it's
the serpent's doing it.
The serpent did it to him, so it's more laughable. But I give into a plot, you'll understand why it was more laughable, why it's more of a funny joke.
And he refers to these two as, and I'd say as the serpent's two greatest hate mongers. And then as his battle cry, he's coming at him and he goes, "Do I look afraid to you?" And it's like, you're Thor. Like the only thing that scares you is the thought of losing other people. But because you're Thor, you can normally stop that.
But I think that this will be one of those epic battles because, like if anything, we get to see Thor not holding back.
See, I have to love this because to me, I feel like you look at this, all right, see, and like I mentioned that before because because this is almost like a little hint at what's going to happen with Stark now that he's got his audience with Odin. See, look, those look like, goblin-y type people, right?
Yep.
All right, and then scroll back a few pages. And then all of a sudden, it's different. So I'm wondering, it's like, does that mean anything? Is it a variant?
We'll have to wait and see.
Or a bait and trade say, well, we're going to throw this off, if you're paying attention, you're going to notice something, but you never know.
Yeah. Also, it's like that's Matt Fraction. Seriously, there's a picture of the guy, and he looks like the nerdiest guy imaginable.
Well, I mean, honestly, you got to realize that if you look at all the guys here, all of them look pretty damn nerdy.
Well, no, Brian Michael Bendis. I mean, look, he looks like he'd be flirting with me at a bar on 6th Street.
And which one are you pointing at on the
bald one?
Oh yeah, he's
yeah.
You got to admit, nerd, giant nerd.
Oh yeah, but no, I'm just saying, especially with that look on his face.
Yeah.
He's like, "How you doing, sailor?"
Yeah, I mean,
you've got, to anyone who might know Brian, I like you and all, but this picture is it doesn't say manly man. It says toodaloo or hello or something.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. But I mean, for the most part, most of them do say nerd with a capital N. So yeah.
I say nerd with like 2 N's and an R. Nerd. Duh.
Yeah. Well, spelling fail. Anyway.
All right. Well, the thing is, there's nothing bad about this book. I mean, I think we covered everything. It's a good book. It's the main book of the series. So if you really can't afford the others, it doesn't hurt you to just get this one.
Yeah, this one's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm gonna start tying up all the what's going on with the series.
All right, Larry. I think Nate chose the last one. You choose this one. And we get to one of Nathaniel's least favorite of the week. One that I'm just kind of, unfortunately, lukewarm on myself, which is sad because I enjoy the series.
Well, the series is normally good. This one...
Well, it doesn't work as a tie-in. But, I mean...
Yeah.
And it's almost like they have to tie it in, though, because they're tying in everyone, because the size of the event is actually bigger. It's I would say it is almost in scale to... No, it's bigger. It's bigger than the Secret Invasion.
I say, but you want to give folks a heads up what you're reading.
Oh, right. Derp. Okay, we're looking at his Uncanny X-Force, the Fear Itself tie-in miniseries, 1 of 3. So at least we have that going for us, that X-Force's Dark Angel storyline is going to keep continuing. We'll be able to keep reading that. So we don't have to pick and choose. Or if you want to pick and choose, you can. So good to know. We also have another reading fail in Nathaniel's part here.
And then don't give a shit. It's very quiet. It's kind of hard sometimes when you're answering phones at work and reading this shit in between. Every now and then shit's gonna get lost. So you can stick your head into whatever orifice is least comfortable and we can move on.
Well, see, I wouldn't mind that, so it would be one of your orifices, because that would be
No,
least comfortable.
we'll find an orifice you don't want something to enter into. That shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, we'll let everyone die right there because you
Zing!
willingly wanted to. Yeah. Well, I would say about this issue is, I guess, X-Force coming in doing some stuff is the main plot here. They're almost aware of what's going on around the world.
Giving it another glance right now, the art is actually quite good.
Yeah. I'm not going to give it any knock for that.
The issue with this, though, is it brings up a very good issue, that is, and we haven't covered it yet, this book is taking place seemingly at the same time as the Deadpool Fear Itself, mini, and the Wolverine Fear Itself mini.
Yeah. It's
So,
almost like where it is in the continuity of all the other ones.
That's kind of been a big point of confusion with a lot of the tie-in minis, is that you're looking at this going, okay, we've got the prime timeline set by the Fear Itself Volume 4. Where the hell do the rest of these damn things fall? Because you've got stuff like you'll go through in this one, you kind of imply that it's following prior to one thing, but then it kind of implies that it might be something else. It's not really clear, which kind of confuses the hell out of me, but...
I want to say mostly for the Deadpool and the Wolverine series, and kind of like, well, was he at place A, but now he's at place B so fast? How did he get there so fast?
The worst part is I could ignore it with Deadpool. With Wolverine, I can't. Wolverine is forced to abide by the laws of their universe. Deadpool is not.
Well, Deadpool went cosmic for a while. Once you go cosmic, the whole sense
You never
of
go
time,
back.
Well, yeah, that and the whole sense of time thing is forever broken, because all of a sudden you've got him crossing the galaxy in like 10 minutes. And at that point you go, well, yeah, he can get across half the planet in 2 seconds.
Well, he could have before with his teleporty rig.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's something they played down over the years. So
well, he doesn't even have it anymore.
Oh yeah, you see, he can't use it. But regardless,
he hasn't had it since his reboot with Cable and Deadpool, which was phenomenal.
But then they base the question was like, so how's Wolverine getting around so fast?
Yeah,
makes you kind of wonder.
Oh, right now we're nitpicking because I'm sure they will put out something that unifies this in such a way.
honestly, this is kind of why I usually prefer to read like the end collections, because they always put a nice little timeline and everything, wrap everything up in a nice, neat little bow, so that for the people who are only half paying attention, like I tend to always,
it kind of makes it more organized.
Yeah, and so that we don't get completely lost, which is probably why I failed at reading a little bit on some of these. I was probably doing something at the same time when I read a page and my brain went, oh yeah, I'm just going to confuse what the hell else I was doing. So, all right, back to the comic.
It's called After Call. It's a good thing.
But
whatever.
But the good thing about what I liked about the comic was there was some good action and actually a good Deadpool quote.
Well, yeah, it's a whole little scene with. Well, it's not really ruining things. I'm not going to be. He has this whole.
Yeah, sure, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yeah, he's got the whole intro scene where he explains what he sees the X-Force being, and he's talking to these two toys. It's like Teddy Ruxpin and something else, some little toy, and they're like they're reporters.
Like a plushie for
like
Nightcrawler. It's a plushie Nightcrawler, I thought.
Well, no, I thought it was because I know one of them's Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah,
because
actually is both a Teddy Bear and a Nightcrawler.
It is Nightcrawler. I couldn't really. Where'd it go?
At the beginning, I think.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah, it's a cartoonified Nightcrawler. I couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah. But no, because Deadpool is batshit bonkers, he is giving an interview for like Nightline or something. He's something.
People.
For People magazine.
Yeah.
To two plushies.
Yeah.
And it's like you're thinking to yourself, okay, the X Factor. You're supposed to be like a secretive force, yet you're
X-Force,
X-Force, and you guys are doing an interview. It's like, aren't you supposed to be like real quiet about this? And then lo and behold, you find out, he's talking to two teddy bears. And you're like, wow, okay, yeah, Deadpool's way out there now.
He's always been way out there.
But and the fun thing about it is, you could definitely tell he is out there in a funny note, because he usually has a good line.
Like this one you're about to quote.
Yeah, the one about the quote is, I guess the set up the scene. They're looking for some bad guys. They go to this one church, and pretty much his reaction is, "Man, you guys bring guns to church?" Like literally quoting from the comic. Like he's like, "That's my kind of church." I'm actually sorry, we have to actually kill you all. And it's like, wow, that's a Deadpool quote right there. Funny one. I was like, I laugh at that. I read that, I was laughing my butt off out loud. Literally.
Yeah, that's a good quote. I mean, this part though, it's interesting, this scene where you have Psylocke and I think it's Phantom X is the other guy.
Yeah, Phantom X.
Yeah, they're kind of just mingling in this big party, trying to pick out this bad
guy leadery dude.
Well, no, they're not even hitting the leader. They just have one known contact to the purifiers. Yeah. And then they kind of go over this whole thing, because the entire thing started with a blast, and it kind of goes from there. They kind of chase him down, and you find out a lot about what the purifiers are seeing. It's kind of an interesting point of view, because you get this whole kind of extremist religion look to the whole thing. Looking back on it, when I first read it, I was kind of like, well, one more religious extremist BS. They bring it kind of to an interesting angle. It's a very satirical angle when you kind of look at the way they kind of phrase some of the stuff. So once I rolled it over my head, it became less of a, this is a complete waste of time, to being kind of, well, it's an interesting idea. It's kind of another way to see it. And it's still kind of funny when you see anybody who's these horribly racist idiots. Because that's something gets a little, and we'll deal with that kettle of fish when we get to that kettle of fish. But yeah, otherwise this one, it had some fun stuff. Princess is in another castle. That's kind of a statement you'll understand when you read the book, but it's interesting.
Yep.
Shinji, out of reach, must touch kitty.
Hey, comic, not cat. We deal with cat later. You already had cat earlier. Back to comic.
Fine. Okay. It's a good book. Well, it's a mediocre book. I have a feeling the next one might be better, because this one suffers from a common problem, and that is it is a setup, and then also the payoff in the end is kind of
a killjoy.
It's a killjoy and a cliffhanger all at the same time.
Yeah, and it's kind
not
of
a satisfying ending.
Yeah, it is kind of this cheap cliffhanger ending, and I'm just kind of like, that's still unsatisfying. It doesn't end. They literally just kind of went. This is like walking into a 45-minute episode of a TV show and shaving off the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like enough of a close where it should be the end of a comic. It should be another, like half step or something, another couple minutes, but whatever.
I think what it is also there's the religious aspect. Is one character makes a monologue why they're doing what they're doing, and it does tie into the Fear Itself series. So it just kind of makes you understand that why this series is here, because it's adding to that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so what do we have next on the list?
Next, we have Fear Itself Wolverine.
Okay.
Miniseries 1 of 3.
This one's actually pretty good in my opinion. It's kind of fun.
It harkens back to something I feel like Marvel's being a little bit better about doing, which is nice, and that is that the events of the past are not forgotten. They're not just brushed away and nothing ever comes of them.
Yeah. This one definitely does a lot of past jacking to get some of its tricks across.
Well, this one is covering a story that essentially we're seeing redone over and over with. Last week we saw it in Black Widow. I don't feel like Black Widow was the first time we'd seen it in
No,
Fear
I don't think
Itself,
it is.
but I can't think of what other book Fear Itself did. But it's essentially the idea that fear is running rampant. People are scared, shit's hit the fan. The assholes are going to take this opportunity to be even bigger assholes because they know they can.
Yeah.
I do. That's another aspect of Wolverine that I think is kind of cool. Is Wolverine's lady friend, whatever her name is? Didn't pay attention.
Yeah, that's his new girlfriend. We've only been seeing her since what is it? Wolverine 5.1, his .1 issue.
Yeah,
which I'm going to be doing reviews on those later on, but it was great because essentially everyone came to celebrate his birthday party, and they all brought for him hooch. He did not get a present that wasn't in a bottle.
Well, it's Wolverine. In all fairness, the only other appropriate gift would have been a box of decent cigars. But I mean, it's kind of cool, like I said, with his lady friend, that the whole thing she's trying to go for. The angle that she's fighting, that it's, because she is still in her own way trying to fight the fear. And it's kind of an interesting angle to take.
She's a reporter.
Yeah.
And Wolverine has given her Avengers Access card. Oh, we found her name. I can't pronounce that.
Let me see. Maybe I can. We've got...
It's like, don't you know I'm pronunciation retarded?
Melita Gardner. And if I
Melita.
mispronounced it, shove it.
Well, you're close.
Yeah, it looks close enough. Melita, Melita. Gardner is easy. It's last name, Grner. So, yeah, that looks good. We'll go with that. If we don't, whatever. Otherwise, we can just call him his lady friend. That works.
But yeah, she's a reporter. She's trying to find out what's going on. It seems that Strike has reared its ugly head. Interesting thing about Strike is, if for any of those people who have no idea who they are, we just got to see them last week in Iron Age #2.
Yep. We saw Captain Britain and the nutty British Secret Service.
Well, the thing is, this book even says it. They used to be good guys. Strike used to be the UK equivalent of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is hilarious because S.H.I.E.L.D. is worldwide anyway. But whatever. UK,
well, every country still had their own lesser equivalent. Even U.S. had like mini
CIA.
S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah. Well, no, they still had like mini S.H.I.E.L.D. because they still had S.H.I.E.L.D. that was like primarily U.S.
Instead of having S.H.I.E.L.D., they had like...
For example, you got the British has their...
You've got Buckler.
Thank
You've got Buckler.
And we have Buckler, which is British.
Yes. So yeah, that was their Buckler. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
In America we had shoulder pads.
Yeah. Or what is it? Cup. Cup seems a lot more accurate when you're dealing with America because it's all a bunch of dick waving anyway. So we've got Cup.
I've seen Jackass. You've seen Jackass. We got Cup.
Yeah. So we've got Strike was their mini S.H.I.E.L.D., their Buckler, and we had Cup, which is a terrible joke. But okay, let's
we're gonna make shirts.
Oh yeah. Okay, back to you've got, and this is another one of those where they pull back some of the Osborn.
And essentially, Strike used to be good guys, and they got taken over by bad guys, and then eventually they got shut down.
Yeah.
So
sort of.
they've been in the shadows for the long time. Essentially, what we read in here is we find out it's not that they really went away, it's that they started taking low-profile, high-risk shit jobs no one else would take because it was all the work they could get.
Yeah,
And
because they
now,
needed cash.
and now they have a chance for a big score, and that is what would have
Prometheus.
been, yes, the USS Prometheus would have been the first in the Hammer line of helicarriers. For those not keeping score, Hammer was Norman Osborn's perverted version of S.H.I.E.L.D. when he was given the job from Tony Stark after he was publicly seen killing the Skrull Queen, and in that one shot pretty much ending the Skrulls' will to fight during the Secret Invasion.
Yeah. So the Prometheus is kind of a nifty toy. They imply a lot. It can be a lot of very nifty, very nasty tricks later.
Not what your standard helicarrier would.
Oh no, this thing is like be armed to the tooth and beyond. I mean, this looks like some of those jokes on cartoons where they're trying to describe where they could strap another weapon. The appropriate answer is we build in a secret compartment and add more weapons. That's about how Osborn built this ridiculous phallus replacements, flying phallus that he was going to have. I'm
At
sure
least it wasn't shaped like a damn goblin glider. That's all I got to say.
Well, it still looks like a standard helicarrier, but it's essentially a giant penis.
Well, it was designed by a huge dick.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you come down and look at most weapons, it's a very Freudian thing. It's I'm going to exert my will, and because I'm exerting my will, it's through my penis.
Is that why I like the Gatling gun on War Machine so much, or is
Probably.
it just because it's cool?
Probably a little bit of both, because it's hardwired into guys that the bigger my dick is, the better I am. So if you've got
Then
this,
Tony Stark
4 foot
must
long,
feel real happy with himself.
well, he's secure in his manhood. The War Machine needs a big giant cock to remind everybody that he's a big giant black man who's going to cock slap you.
Well, I'm going to argue real quick in War Machine's defense on that half. The other thing is you needed that just to differentiate the two.
Because otherwise you've got
Two
Black
Iron
Iron Man and Standard Iron Man, which is what you have now, which is kind of chinsy.
But that's another subject we can talk about.
Okay, yeah.
That'll be an all Iron Man cast, possibly halfway through the year when we get news on Iron Man 3.
Yep, we'll definitely take a look back and see once we have half a clue what the hell Iron Man 3 is going to be.
Oh, I just hope it's Mandarin, because I want to see some rings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it definitely. Okay.
It ain't worth a thing if you don't got that bling.
So yeah, we've got the villain they show right after they show him jacking the Prometheus is kind of cool. Is this actually like Scarecrow, or is this like?
Well, I figure there is a Scarecrow. No offense to our friends over in DC, is kind of one of those names that's real easy to duplicate and use. I wouldn't be surprised if in all of comics continuity...
Well, I'm sure there's at least a half dozen to a dozen Scarecrows. Yeah. I would be surprised if there's any less.
Because it's good imagery, too.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of he's another kind of like Furious-based dude, from what it looks like. Because he looks pretty much like Batman, Scarecrow, crows everywhere. Kind of funny when he pitchforks Wolverine in the back. That's great.
I love how Wolverine's way of dealing with him is first he slashes him and hurts him, and then while he's laughing, about how is that tear gas? I thought that was more.
Oh yeah,
that is tear gas.
You see, you've got the cop there. I'm going to borrow this, and then he just pulls the mask off partially. Takes this because that's tear gas when cops throw that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was just.
No, he wanted to laugh off of tear gas.
No, but I thought it was pepper spray.
No,
it's a grenade. It looks like
tear gas. As a tear gas canister.
Yeah.
That's what they chunk at. What you see in riots, that's what he's chunking.
All right.
Yeah,
so he literally grabbed that, opened him as like, here, smell this, laugh at this Scarecrow guy.
And tear gases the man directly into his hood. That is one hell of a way to get a man to take off his mask.
It worked. The guy is. Look right here. They're carting his dumbass away.
Well, you can still see him horking up.
He's still smoking.
Yeah, he's still got smoke and he's horking something up. So, apparently it's quite functional.
All right, but back to Fear itself. So these guys have jacked a helicarrier, and at first they think their job is done, that they're gonna actually try to get away with stealing it. But of course, their bosses, being atypical morons,
they're being tards. Yeah,
decide we're gonna kill our hostages.
Which first step, never kill all the hostages. You always keep a few just in case. I mean, it is impressive how they do it. Because
Hanging him from the bottom of the helicarrier?
no, just doing it en masse in front of this huge office building. If you're wanting to scare the living shit out of a bunch of people, going, oh look, here's all these folk that we captured, 24 dead fuckers, right there,
Yeah.
in just like 2 seconds. That's a fear tactic. That's entirely what it's supposed to be. Is scare the shit out of these people.
Yeah, and I guess that's the theme of this run.
It's fear. So it's a great fear tactic. It's definitely meant to like demoralize and spasmful. And as we can see from the poor schmucks in the office building who have to watch all this, yeah, they're not very happy.
See, what I like about this, though, is it's like, you guys have just pretty much...
Screwed the pooch.
Well...
And you can see again why I mentioned Norman likes guns, because you can see about 1.4 billion of them.
Yeah, I feel like it is a little bit more heavily armed than your average helicarrier, isn't it?
Yeah, because you seriously can, because you got the big giant hammer in the back, and you can see 1, 2, 3, it looks like a couple quad sets, another big boy there, bunch there. I mean, this thing looks...
impressive.
Yeah. It's much more of a strike object. I mean, it's not meant to be... Probably not meant to be the just standard one that's flying
opposed
around.
to a helicarrier, which is...
pretty much
carrier.
an aircraft. Yeah, it's an aircraft carrier. This one is basically
A
should be a hella
battleship.
battleship.
Battleship version of it, yeah.
Yeah, this is the
Which,
battleship.
I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with that to an extent, but, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s never had the need for that because Nick Fury has always had Iron
Nick
Man
Fury's
and Thor
got,
on his speed dial.
Yeah, well, Nick Fury has a brain. We're dealing with Osborn. The man is a psycho. He basically says, I'm going to destroy the world because I can't.
Well, that's the funny thing, though. You got they did do some things to make him seem a lot deeper in that book. They essentially said he's nuts, but he has moments. He has these moments where his actual intellect shines through past what the Goblin formula did to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
But then,
thing
of
about...
course, in the end, he has a breakdown, and when Luke Cage rips off his, whips off the his stolen Iron Man armor's helmet, he has his face painted like the Goblin mask underneath, and it's just like...
Well, the thing about it, anyone who is insane, they have their moments of loose lucidity. They're going to. Until they've completely lost all touch with reality.
Till they've become Deadpool.
Yeah. I mean, Deadpool, yeah, that's probably the best in the Marvel Universe you're going to get for an absolute psycho.
Yep.
Well, except for a bad guy, but he's going to be he's going to be like Carnage. He's so unrepentant that he's not even interesting as a character. That it's just like, why hasn't someone hit you with a small tactical nuclear device yet? And
because nukes are bad. You can't hug trees with nuclear arms. I can barely get that out of my face. For those of you who couldn't see, I've got this giant shit-eating grin on my face the entire time, and they're both going, is he going to finish it? Is he going to finish it? And I managed to get it out, and they're like, all right, cool.
But yeah, we get through this book only to find out that it's armed to, but this helicarrier is armed even more frighteningly with biological and chemical warfare type weapons. So it is a fearmonger weapon.
Yeah.
Which makes sense coming from, the mind of Norman Osborn.
Given that it's Osborn and the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's not a bad book. It's fun for a Wolverine book, although he doesn't really get to kick much ass. But you know what? We still have 2 more books left.
Yeah, so there's plenty of time to get that squared away.
All right, let's see here. We've got Thunderbolt Sphere itself. Okay, here we go. There you go. This was actually probably my personal
160,
favorite.
by the way.
Oh, it's 1 of 6? Yeah, okay.
No, not 1 of 6, 160.
160. Well, I've got a headset on, so sometimes. Yeah. Okay, anyway, we've established that I'm not all there, so.
No, you're not. I mean, your
I can
belly
blame that
is,
on the insomnia.
Your belly is all there, but...
Yeah, it says the twig, like anyone cares.
Hey, man, I won't die of heart disease in 20 years.
At least I'll die happy. I honestly don't care. So yeah.
All right. So now that we've gone at each other a little bit, I love you, man. I'll take my hand away before you bite it off.
No, this is a punch you. better word, not bite, but punch.
All right. So essentially, the the Thunderbolts are still kind of dealing with what they were dealing with last time, and that is they have to fix what's gone wrong with the raft because Juggernaut effed it up. But then they get new marching orders from the boss man.
Yeah.
And that is, their leader, Luke Cage, says the Juggernaut's our responsibility, we have to stop him.
Yeah.
So he's sending these schmucks against the unstoppable Juggernaut.
And, for those who are curious, we've got, was it Ghost, Moonstone, Zatanna, let's see. Yeah, Ghost, Moonstone, Zatanna. I guess Songbird's in there. Yeah. No, it's Mach 5. That was the only other one that makes a primary appearance. The rest are there for a few
Tertiary.
minutes. Yeah, well, they're there just long enough to be worth mentioned. And
our buddy, the Man Thing, is there.
Oh yeah.
And then he immediately bugs out because there's a thing they say about Man Thing, and that is all who know fear will burn at his touch. Yeah. So the fact that the entire world is crying out in fear is actually setting him in a fix.
Yeah, which is why, when you first see him, he's going through one giant spaz.
Well, there's a book called Fearsome 4 out right now. I'm trying to remember it's Frankenstein, She-Hulk, Howard the Duck, and Nighthawk are the characters in this. And their goal is to stop Man-Thing before he kills any more people, because in that, it takes place directly after this, I believe. Mm-hmm. Which, it's even hard to set up the storyline for this, because people tend to think of storylines in the course of days or whatnot. And some of these books are taking place in the course of minutes of each other.
I mean, the entirety of this battle can't be more than 3 minutes, maybe?
I know. That does make it harder to wrap your head around, at least for me it does.
Yeah, because, you've got the first couple bits, who knows? Not really important.
Well, I think one thing that kind of makes this book a little bit different, because it's not just they're fighting Juggernaut, they're actually trying to save him, because he was a Thunderbolt, and they're saying, wait a minute, weren't you really trying to become good? And he was.
Yeah, he was really.
The thing is, he was. The thing is, as very human, he was feeling worried about his place on the team. Yeah. But honestly, he was, in a slightly non-Kane Marco fashion, he was overthinking. But that's one thing they've done with the character. He used to be as simple as a brick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it does add some nice depth, because Juggernaut was. I don't even know if you could be less than one-dimensional, but for a while he came pretty close.
Yeah, just
he made the Hulk look like a Shakespearean actor.
Yeah, seriously.
He's like, to smash or not to smash? That is the question. So, 'tis nobler in one's mind to break open this tank, or to simply chuck it over the horizon.
That's too funny.
All right, so. Like we said, they're trying
Did you
to
almost
save.
Spit up?
I almost did, yeah.
Yeah. That's why you got to learn the careful moments when to actually drink when listening to all this, because a lot of this stuff comes. Well, I don't even know if left field is far enough to describe how random.
Left field, past the bleachers, at the car.
No. We're outside where they catch the balls.
Yeah, there's some in the parking
in
lot.
Wrigley or something where they have the lake outside the. We're in that lake.
Yeah,
I saw this great shot the other day. Not to go too far off comics, but I saw this great shot the other day. Some guy was trying to get one of those balls that fell into that lake, and he was swimming out there for it. And then some dude ran him over with his kayak.
That's always cool.
That was it. All right, so they're trying to stop the unstoppable, and what they're doing, and they're actually going about it the smart way, because they realize he is not acting like
the classic.
He in fact he's actually not acting like a lot of the others. He's not using his hammer.
He's running.
And here's the thing: with all the power he should have, she should be able to teleport.
Or you can fly.
Yeah. Well, I'd say fly or even teleport.
The hammer.
Yeah,
but
Kane is always, because they even say in here that.
Oh, that's my. Well,
yeah,
I know.
What is it? Saito? How do you pronounce the stupid thing he got his original power from?
Sycorax?
Sycorax.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sidorak, just the possession of the power from the Sidorak diamond should have been enough to let him fly in the first. Ruby. Whatever. I don't give a shit what it... Some fancy gemstone. You're lucky I bothered to pronounce the damn name right.
Hey.
You get one. You get one of the two details. It's Sidorak and some fancy gem.
But so he's running, which
Yeah.
is what he does, because what is it about the Unstoppable Juggernaut?
He's an unstoppable force.
Well, no,
When he
it's that
starts
once
running.
he gets moving,
Yeah.
there's no force on Earth that can stop him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so what they do is, because Songbird's power right now is her power is she can make sound constructs.
Yeah.
She essentially makes a giant spiraling ramp for the Juggernaut to run on, so they are trying to hold him still. And then after that, using Satana's power, which the more I see of what she's doing, the more I just think, you are going to bite them in the ass so hard later on, aren't you, bitch? Because it's like, that's the funny thing. Satana, she's not a good guy. I mean, sometimes she plays for the good team, but really that's one of those believable bad guy things in the sense that it's self-serving.
Yeah, because you can't take over the planet if it's ruled by somebody based
Your
on fear.
And you also can't rule it if it's run by your poppy.
So,
As opposed to her good guy brother, Damon Hellscream, who I'm a pretty big fan of, who, he is a good guy and hangs out with Doctor Strange. And I mean, anyone
Doctor
who hangs,
Strange has a weird little cast that he kind of plays
he
with.
he has strange friends.
Yeah.
Being Doctor Strange.
You know.
But so what they do is they use the ghost's ability of intangibility to actually go into Juggernaut and see him as see like his soul, but it's
I love the art style.
Yeah, they decide to interpret it in a very...
It's Native American, it's like Hopi Indian or something, like some ancient Indian kind of design to it. Maybe Aztec when you more start dealing with the serpent motif.
Big time 2D, to be the best way to describe it.
Yeah, and then what we see happening is inside of his actual soul, this ancient power that's possessed him is consuming his soul.
We're trying. From what we see, it really doesn't have that much of a hole, but that's because of the Sidorak. Because that's already this huge.
The Juggernaut was already the avatar to a god. In fact, he was weaker as during his time as a Thunderbolt, because what happened was he, for a short period there in one of the Spider-Man's books, because this one dude had the Unipower, which is the power to become Captain Universe, which there is never one Captain Universe. It is a title that's essentially passed around because the power finds the person who is most needed to do a certain job and goes to them. And then it's up to them to use it properly. That's how that works. But after he became Captain Universe for a short time, because he had to fix the tectonic plates under Manhattan, because he himself ran through them after Spider-Man found a way to sink him into the bedrock of the island.
So you're talking about Juggernaut became Captain Marvel one time?
No, not Captain Marvel.
Captain Universe.
Captain Universe.
Captain Universe?
Yeah, and he had to fix the tectonic plates. And after that, Sidorak was kind of like a jilted lover, like, you don't love me that much anymore. I'm going to take back some of my power. I'm taking some of my things. Here, I'll still come by sometimes, but here, you got your key back. And so
the ancient gods. I mean, come on now.
Ancient gods are kind of pissy.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at what poor Mark Spector has had to deal with Krashnu.
Yeah, well, it's one of those.
Egyptian gods of vengeance. But yeah, and then we learn that apparently the serpent is not just a fear god, but he might be the fear god.
Yeah, they're implying that the one that he has is one of the strongest, if not the primary avatar of the Father of Fear. Because they use what they call him... Kurth?
It's Kuurth.
Kurth. We'll call him Kurth. That sounds nice and easy.
Yeah, we're implied that he's pretty... I'm still going to say, I think if anyone's going to be the strongest, it's going to be Sin. Because she's the first one to...
She's the leader. That does not mean she's the strongest. she takes the primary hammer. She was probably intended to be the leader since it was Red Skull who started this whole mess. But I really do believe that, if nothing else, even if Kurth weren't the strongest, it's the fact that he can mooch power off of Sidorak by just keeping enough of Kane there.
Pacified?
Yeah. If he just keeps him pacified, he can mooch power.
Here's the thing, though. Let's say Marco is aware of what's going on around him, and let's just say he doesn't care because he thought he was going to go back to the hole anyway. If he finds out he wasn't, and they're able to get him to buy it, you'll be able to reject this thing out of him like popping a pimple. Will just
I would say that's probably going to be the plot twist, because
that's because you're going to need a hammer to twist first. You're going to need to have somebody who shows the others the way, and I really do think that the way they've gone with Juggernaut's character is that he's going to be the one to lead the rest of the hammers away from the Father of Fear.
He wants redemption.
Yeah. He's one of the few, who actually wants redemption.
Well, the others are playing, some of them are playing good guys, and it's not that they don't want redemption, it might just be that they lack his ability to.
Well, he's also an old character. In defense of a lot of the guys who are playing, they're new characters. They haven't had enough.
No.
Some of them are.
Well, also you're looking at this though, but here's the thing.
Those are established good guys that are being corrupted.
Oh, so you're talking more about Titania.
Yeah, Paladin. Some of the other guys Paladin's sort of a good guy, but some of the guys you get from Heroes of Fire and some of the other ones
what
like
do those
that.
have to do with the hammers, though?
They still.
I thought you were talking about leading the people who are currently under the control of the hammers away from them.
Yeah, that too.
But I'll say this, because of all the hammer people, you got pretty much the hammers that feed off of Hulk's rage. You can never cross that rage; it's always gonna be there. So you have the on switch and you break it. That's what you get with this hammer with Hulk.
Yeah, someone needs to find the breaker box.
Exactly. And so
somebody just needs to direct it.
And the same thing with Grimm. For him, it's probably guilt of losing Johnny Storm, which is going to play an effect. And that's guilt for losing him. So they're playing off that guilt. So that's that's
the one that's hardest to hold is going to be Juggernaut, because he's kind of settled a lot of his demons, and it was just fear. Only fear, and fear in and of itself is relatively easy once you see its true face to conquer it.
Exactly.
I think he'll probably be a turning point.
Once its true face is shown to be an Asgardian jackass.
Well, that's Thor. Who cares?
Well, no, I meant the person he's fighting.
But I'm looking at it this way, because with him, he never had fear while he was Juggernaut anyway. So what would
you be afraid of? You're the fucking Juggernaut.
Exactly. So what is Juggernaut holding on?
Silly bitch, your weapons kind of harm me.
Exactly, but it goes back to what is Juggernaut holding on to is keeping them occupied by that entity. So it's going to be interesting.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one, because we still have 3 more.
What are we up to?
We are up to Fear Itself, Youth and Revolt, Part 3 of 6, which is still one of the best miniseries they are running.
Yeah, Youth and Revolt is a lot of fun.
And not the one with Michael Cera.
Maybe. I don't know how you're talking about, so whatever.
There was a movie with Michael Cera called Youth and Revolt.
Yeah.
It was about a guy who wanted to get laid. Something Michael Cera never encounters.
Yeah, you can put 30 second movies, whatever.
Alright, so Youth and Revolt. Right now we are picking up just from where we left off, and that is the heavy hitters team in Nevada having to face the fact that Juggernaut is coming their way. Honestly, I like that they're using him so much, and then I don't like it. It's like there's another 7 guys. I mean, I get that right now the Grey Gargoyle is in Paris, but
no one cares because it's fucking Paris.
Well, but and then we have Titania and Absorbing Man in China.
In China.
You've got a couple of hammers in New York.
2.
But you got they just threw Thor at that problem, so they're gonna have more.
And then you have Atuma in the ocean, and because we're not
Well, we skipped the
Lantian,
D.
we don't give a shit.
No.
Yeah, Namor's a douchebag, and screw him. So we're
Well,
not paying attention here.
I like the Deep miniseries right now, but it's because Namor's douchery is balanced out by this one girl named Loa, who's been hanging out with him, who's some kind of a mutant.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And then you have one of the greatest characters of all time, Dr. Stephen Strange, he's always fun because he's so like out there. And then of course we have Lyra, who is Bruce Banner's daughter from a alternate timeline.
Jimmy Dan 10.
You know what? I don't care. It's an excuse to have another hot green chick, but this time with red hair, and red and green being complementary colors. It just yeah.
It's like Christmas for your crotch.
Ho ho ho.
Yeah, let's not even pretend that you're thinking with any other piece of your anatomy than the same thing we talked about when we dealt with Osborn and the phallus mobile.
Penis.
But I think in this case, it's like seeing like.
I just avoided a slap across the back of my head.
Yeah.
You're lucky I'm not trying.
Indeed, I'd be on the floor.
But I think in this case, drug on his head for Chicago at this point.
No, that was the last book.
Okay.
Which was the oddball because he apparently, our understanding is that he was headed towards Chicago, and we think it's either the Thunderbolts stop him there.
I think it's Speedball. Because it's in this.
It
one.
mentions in this.
Yeah.
But the thing is, where he did they say he was in Missouri when that happened. They actually do say that he did it in Missouri.
You got to think of this one. Where was the vault or
New York?
So from New York to Chicago, and now he's almost.
Well, I mean, where's Missouri? And because Chicago's Illinois. I might not know a lot of geography, but I know that Chicago's in Illinois. So maybe he's been stopped several times now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know where does it say that he speedballed his ass?
Here.
Too many pages.
They're too far.
Yeah, I thought that was. Yeah, looking. In Japan.
Right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, not little tiny spoiler. Hardball tries.
The home front. That's where they actually.
Yeah, well, I know the actual book. I could have told you that, but I meant like charting the Juggernaut's progress across the continental U.S. has been kind of tricky.
But that's bad timeline.
Well, that's comics for you.
Well, it's still bad timeline. If you can't figure out what's going on, yeah, they're running like 20 books. But that's beside the point. You should still have enough cohesive...
We need a flow chart.
Yeah.
There you go.
That works. That's good enough. I was going to say a map, flow chart, same shit, just different names.
Or something to say, when you read this, read in this order.
Yeah. But they don't want to do that right now because they're wanting sales. They want your money.
And also, they're not going to wait. Like, if one of the books is behind by a day, and that means it's not going to come out till the next week, and if that puts it slightly out of order, they're not going to wait because that's bad business.
Yeah, it is.
Especially one of the worst things I feel that comics ever do is when they announce an event, say it's going to be from here to here, and then it drags long.
Yeah, well,
well, I can say just give it some little defense. It's pretty much looking at something that's globally versus being locally, so...
It is harder to keep track of time when you start playing with international date limits and all that.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, this book, we should get back to it, really.
Yeah.
It's, the heavy hitters, they do their damnedest to stop Juggernaut. And they kind of...
Slow them down, maybe.
They slow them down. They make an impression. Or at least Hardball does.
Yeah, Hardball, proves, himself worthy of, being on a team called the Heavy Hitters. But then again, Hardball's powers are kind of derivative of Speedball's powers. They're just a little bit more amped. But they're not as amped as Penance's powers.
Well, honestly, there is some difference. He's very similar to Speedball. They both play with little orbs and...
Play with kinetic energy orbs.
Yeah.
They play with their kinetic energy balls.
Well, they both play with balls. Again, it's more sexual innuendo. So
I don't. You know what? No, I'm gonna say no. It's not because friggin' Speedball was created in the late '70s.
that doesn't mean anything. Just because it doesn't immediately seem like it's, yeah. So sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, but it's more fun to say that everyone's a dirty pervert.
Well, you're one of those people who think terrible thoughts about Reed Richards, aren't you?
Reed Richards could do all kinds of very interesting things and very lucrative job in the porn industry, but that's beside the point. Like I said, I look at it everything.
Shame.
You have apparently never looked at the internet and never done anything like looking up.
I don't go to 4chan.
Reed Richards or smut. I'm
not going to.
Just image search Reed Richards. By the way,
safe search is on my computer.
If you're going to do this, if you're under the age of 18, safe search is a must, and you will have no idea what I'm talking about. The rest of you, if you're not already a pervert and willing to see the characters as smutty, creepy little sex symbols, don't look at this. Because if you look up Reed Richards, there are terrible things that are done.
The worst part is he knows. He knows people.
I get bored. I'm one of these people. I'm like, no. Safe search is evil, because
we got off topic. We need to get
okay.
into this.
Anyway, going back on topic.
Back we are.
I guess Hardball. The main thing, his claim to fame was that he got his powers from Power Broker, and he pretty much became a double agent during, I guess, what was the series?
He mentions it. That's the only reason you know, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least I read it.
Yeah, well,
during the initiative.
There you go. So,
well, at least he was paying attention.
And trying to keep us on topic, Mr. Anyway, but that's the main thing. Kind of like they kind of talk about the team he's on,
and he's another character that's trying really hard for redemption, because he realized he was reluctant, even from the Jump Street, to work with Power Broker, but he kind of had no choice. I do like the scene between, Prodigy? Prodigy and Gravity.
Yeah, where he's calling Gravity, and Gravity is still kind of reeling from the fact that he almost died in the last issue.
And almost got somebody else killed, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love it because they show his costume without him in it, and it's one of those things where it looks like the flattest, blandest long sleeve shirt imaginable, except maybe it's like a size or two too small. But then, of course, a superhero squeezes into all those things, and all of a sudden, bam!
Well, it's all lycra and spandex so that they can go raw. Look at my muscles.
Hey, Hulk don't need no spandex. He just has magic pants that never tear.
Yeah, well, that's for the benefit of everyone, because speaking of turning off safe search, that's what happens if he didn't have
Rule
magical
34?
pants. Yeah, Rule 34 is hardly in effect in the internet, and I'm sure all of you who know what that is are laughing. Those of you who don't, where the hell have you been?
How did you find us?
Seriously, what rock did you crawl under? I mean, I'm not one of these big trawler guys, but I've known this for, 12 years, something like that.
How old are you?
25, 26, so...
13? He was 13
14,
years old.
14.
But
whatever.
It's just funny because I always find that funny whenever you see a character. It's just like, oh, well, this is what the costume looks without them in it. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, it's funny because you could actually put the same costume on a smaller person, and it would just look like they're wearing a stylized shirt.
Yeah. Well, that's the power of spandex.
It's also the power of comic books, where the girls' costumes are quite literally sometimes painted on. Because they were drawn.
Yeah, I mean,
there is
one. There's one thing in here that the name of one of the teens that they skid marked. It's Thor Girl and Cloud9 right after their escape. What the hell kind of name is Libertines? That is dumb.
They're led by Miss America.
Yeah, I know, but still,
they got
Libertines.
They
what
got
the hell?
Blue Eagle on them. So yeah.
one of the initiatives thing possibly?
Well, yeah, it is an initiative team.
It is one of the initiative, mini forces that got created.
I mean, it's just...
But its name is ridiculous.
Yeah. But...
That's my only real claim or clause in any of this, is I think that name is dumb.
But isn't Cloud9 from the Power Pack? Is that old group?
No. She's not.
They're not.
You're thinking of Matter Master. I think... I'm trying to remember. There was Energizer, Matter Master, Zero G, and Lightspeed.
Okay.